week you shared a bit about bullying.
Mm.
I'd love you to share your experience around bullying.
Yeah, so it's definitely been some of the greatest heartaches I've had in life. Reflecting back on the way I allowed other people to push me around physically and verbally. I can't recall so much. I have flashes, specific moments where I remember always feeling different. I think I was drawn to doing unconventional things. I remember, I'm not sure if it was could have been grade 3, grade 2, and it was a very, very hot summer's day in the classroom, and I decided, well, I know everyone is probably uncomfortable in their shoes because it's too hot. Why wear these thick socks and shoes on a warm day like this? And I thought, like, in the classroom, I'll take off my shoes, my socks, because that's just so much more comfortable. And the immediate reaction was kind of like, oh, he's taken his shoes off, that's weird. And the reaction to that was then, oh my goodness, his shoes smell, his socks smell. And then the whole classroom kind of laughed at me and pointed and made jokes. And I was definitely hurt by that. And I think that summarized a lot of the things that I've felt growing up. And in that situation, it's like I do things that feel right to me and make me stand out and feel different. And I think for many of those reasons, I was bullied a lot growing up.
So you're saying bullied can be just small little things?
Yes.
Like a little tease of, oh, yuck, your shoes smell.
Exactly, yeah.
So it doesn't have to be something physical of me coming up and pushing you around and saying, hey, Francois, doof, doof, doof.
Yeah, I think it was a lot more verbal abuse growing up than physical abuse, luckily. I think if there was an attack, it was actually more of a relief because at least there was a physical confrontation. Those were more positive for me, reflecting back. But I think consistently being called names and being pushed aside as being different, labeled being different. And then I accepted that too, I think, along the way. And I definitely felt much more of an outsider.
So you're saying that the bullying was really, or not allowing you to be yourself, I'd rather say.
Yeah, I felt it was, I couldn't be myself, yes. Yeah. And then I accepted that, and I felt I needed to be away from other people to be myself. So and that's kind of what happened, yeah.
So what you're saying is that bullying really, the result of bullying was that you struggled to be yourself. That you had this conflict between being yourself and conforming to what was happening.
I think I would say, I couldn't really explore that much because of how much pushback there was so quickly. Yeah.
And that touches something that's very, very, very precious to me. What I'm understanding is that bullying at some level robs me of my purpose, robs me of, I too was bullied. And so that was really a struggle, and I reacted similarly, of went inwards and didn't lose my sense of purpose of what I wanted to be or who I was or my difference. I was allowed to create it. But what I'm hearing you saying is that bullying, the true cost of bullying is that it robs you of your purpose, or it could have robbed you of your purpose.
Yes, it definitely robbed me of a lot of precious time with friends and growing in better, deeper friendships. Yeah, I think I felt something that was stolen.
So you're saying it was to have a choice of, do I be socially acceptable with my friends, or do I follow my purpose? Your purpose of wanting to take shoes off, your purpose of your individuality. That I hear that a lot of your bully was around your own individuality.
Yes. Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm just at the moment feeling the tension, the conflict inside of me of that choice, of. I mean, I'm feeling the choice that I had to make because I too was less social. And there's a sadness that comes to me for that I was forced to make the choice.
Now I also feel that sadness of having to make a choice to be separate from my friends or my classmates, just because I feared the rejection more than anything. So I opted for physically and socially distancing myself from my classmates
to create your safety.
For a long time, for years.
Phew. I wonder how many others have got the same conflicts. So at some level you're saying there was a loss on the one and a loss on the other. You either lost your friends or you either lost your purpose, and
yes.
So there was this choice, this dilemma of what do I lose, what do I sacrifice?
Yeah, there's definitely something lost along the way. I think I'm thankful that I didn't decide to, in a sense, I want to say conform, because I think I might have said, like, I'm definitely just going to be that person that will not be as different. But I just couldn't see myself living any other way than to be myself. And that's why I unfortunately decided the more social isolation route.
So I'm interested in why you use the word unfortunately.
Yeah, I think probably I still wish I did stand up for myself more.
That's
true, definitely.
Yeah. Sure. So I just want to acknowledge you for creating safety for yourself. Might not have been easy, but at some level that was what you were doing. That was the only skill that you had for creating safety for yourself. Yeah. How do we create safety differently now? There's still people that are being bullied, and there's still people that are facing those choices or other choices, and so
I'm glad you asked me that. I guess my knee jerk is not always to see the positive change, but now when you mention it in this specific way, I think what I've grown to be, and it's now definitely part of what forms a part of what I feel I'm called to do, is to put myself specifically in situations where I can facilitate the conflict. I find joy in this, in the sense of that I can help other people to kind of like go through that process where there would have been aggression and conflict, and say, like, where can we meet each other in the process? I think, but to answer your initial question, what I've learned from that, how I reacted, and what I've learned now is just that when I feel that I might be different, instead of pulling away from other people, I pull towards other people.
Okay.
I specifically decide to engage.
So you say that you put yourself into the situation.
Yes.
You don't run away from it, but you stand there. So how do you engage? If I was to say to you, I think you're a naturopath, is that right?
Yes.
And if I was to go, I can't believe you're a naturopath. I mean, become a real doctor.
I'm glad you're having this conversation with me now instead of just for a year or two ago, because almost exactly 2 years ago, I was still very much offended by any statement close to that, and not people understanding and knowing what I'm doing. But I think it's part of that same hurts. I've been drawn to things that are different.
So I can just feel what's happening in my body, and my body's tensing up. As you're talking about it, I can feel that my body's tensing, and I'm wanting to kind of guard and defend myself. And so I'm just wondering what you're still guarding and what hurt is still there around if someone wants to say that.
I feel I'm very accepting of it, but at the same stage, definitely, I do feel anger about sentiments like that.
Cool. Okay, good. So then be angry at me. I invite you to be angry at me. And the reason that I'm inviting this is it's so important because very often for me I've experienced people that we feel something and then our head kind of says, oh no, I need to act civilized, I need to act righteous.
Yeah.
And we disconnect from our feeling. Whereas there's still a part of you that feels something.
Yes.
So I'd like you to just talk more deeply into what you actually do feel.
Okay.
Naturopathy is so fucking airy-fairy, I mean. So do you feel I've got the right to say that?
Yes, you do.
Why?
Because you're coming from a different place of experiences than me.
Okay, so I've got a right to be a racist because I've come from different experiences from you. Is that right? Have I got the right to judge you? For me, I don't understand it. Explain more about it. Or, hey, it's not for me.
Yes, yes.
But at some level, when I say it's airy-fairy, I'm judging you. And have I got the right to really judge you?
I feel I allow people to judge me.
You might allow me.
Yes.
But have I got, how does that make you feel when I judge you and saying,
No, I feel, it definitely feels wrong. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
if I can, I wanted to come back to bullying. That's where we started. And
Yeah.
of course, I realize that when you're a 4-year-old, 3-year-old, 10-year-old bullied, it's very different to being a grown person and being bullied.
Yeah.
And then what I'm saying over here might be only relevant to older people than to very young people. But I'm wanting to maybe practice how you would stop being bullied now in an empowered way. Because very, very often in the disempowered way, you bully me, I say, fuck off, you're bullying me, or I go, or I submit and run away. But that is what I call a power over relationship. As a bully comes over here and I try and match your power and try and beat you in that wrestle, or
Yeah.
I submit and create peace by my submission. But either way, I'm being completely reactive, dominated by that bully.
I guess the circumstances changed a lot.
When I mock you about being a naturopath, isn't that me bullying you? Isn't it me belittling you? I might be using the cleverness of my words. Oh, fucking airy-fairy naturopath. And so how do you come back to me in such a way that,
Yeah.
that you don't withdraw and saying, okay, well, I won't talk about it. But how do you
Yeah.
come back to me that you make yourself heard, that aspect of you is important?
I think for where I'm here at the moment, in terms of how our conversation has taken us, because I feel safe and
Okay.
vulnerable in a good way.
Okay.
I actually enjoy telling people that that natural medicine saved my life when I was 2 years old growing up. If it wasn't for it, I would not be here. I would be dead in a hospital
Yeah.
bed. So my experience of what natural medicine means from practical experience growing up, but also living it, makes me able to relate to it in a way that's a very big part of me, and I know I wouldn't be if it wasn't for that. And I'm sorry if your experiences are different, but I think it would be great if you would like to explore what I do, if you're open to that, even a conversation or seeing in practice what I do.
Okay.
I guess that's what I would like to invite people in. It's a deeper dive would go into if someone actually had it, but you know, I'd like to put them into my experience.
Okay, so let's see how we can do that. Let's see how you can pull me into your experience. So I can only share with you how I would do it. So the first thing I might say is stop. And you notice I'm using my hand because that gives a different power if I say stop. Stop. That's my belief. You're entitled to your belief, but I'm quite offended that you're judging my belief without knowing much about it. That creates a firm boundary,
Sure.
and I'm not overpowering it. And then I'd allow the other person to react. I might then say, if you'd like to find out more about my belief, I'm open to sharing it.